according to the Butler County Prosecutor's Office, Middletown police officer Jamie Patterson was called to a home on Greenwood Court for a domestic incident that was on January 3rd. The incident involved a teen who was not cooperating with their mother. The prosecutor's office says Officer Patterson handcuffed the teen, who was then in police custody. While handcuffed, the prosecutor's office says Officer Patterson watched as a male figure in the home whipped the teen. While they were handcuffed, the teen was transported to the hospital after being hit with a belt on the buccal side.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Car to Car. I'm Ramon.
And hi, I'm Dana. And in Middleton, Ohio, a police officer responded to a domestic violence situation and cuffed a teenager and allowed the family to beat him. Actually, spurred the family to beat him. Ramon, what are your thoughts?
You know, I get what the officer's intent was. However, we can't be a part of any type of corporal punishment, corporal behavior, punishment type behavior that someone does to someone else. While I think as a parent, you have a right to discipline your child, but as police officers or someone who has to report any type of abuse or anything of that nature, we can't be a part of it. And I think that's where this officer messed up. I mean, if you're going to say that, hey, this kid, their continued behavior deserves corporal punishment, you can't restrain or you can't be a part of it. I think that you could say, listen, because I've seen some kids in my day that I was like, listen, you shouldn't talk to your parent like this, or you shouldn't do, you shouldn't be as disrespectful as you are to your parents, but I've never said, hey, let me hold on to this kid or hold on to this person while someone else does something. So I think that restraint was wrong. And so we have to be, at the end of the day, we come for peace. So we're peacemakers. And so I think we can't put ourselves in a position to change the peace of a situation and try to exact our own control or thoughts over a situation.
I agree. And a couple of things with this case, because the officer responded to a domestic situation where the young man kicked his grandmother, so he was going to be arrested for domestic violence. And she had responded there prior, and apparently she was tired of him, I guess, responded to him. But when a person is in your custody, you bought the farm. You are responsible for that person's well-being, so you cannot, in any circumstance, to your point, allow any harm to come to that person. Once the handcuffs are on there in your custody, that's your baby. And so, ironically, the backup officer came in and saw some of that and was like, "What did I just walk into?" And so that person was put in a bad situation, and unfortunately, probably going to get some discipline as well, because that person did not report it. The jail reported the injuries, because he did receive injuries as opposed to the 10 lashes with a belt that the grandfather gave him at the order of the officer, and he had bruises on him. So the jail contacts the supervisor. The supervisor says, okay, tell the young man to, when he comes out of jail, to come in person to make the complaint. So the supervisor didn't investigate it. So the supervisor is going to get some discipline. And subsequently, the officer was indicted for the child abuse and dereliction of duty and different things. So at the end of the day, you have to do your job. When someone is in your custody, you have to make sure they get to jail pretty much the same way you found that person in good health. And if they require medical attention, you do that. But you don't necessarily allow someone else to harm your prisoner. Additionally, the officer, the backup officer, you have to report that to your supervisor. And if you know it's wrong, just report that. And the supervisor investigate it. Go and do your initial investigation and refer that to internal affairs. but you just cannot allow that to occur.
I agree. Our job as police officers is one of policy, procedures, laws, and we have to make sure that if we want to maintain our job, if we want to stay out of jail, if we want to be able to take care of our families, we have to do our job the best way we can. There's going to be some situations that are just going to piss us off. Um, and a lot of those situations that pissed me off was, how someone may have treated a baby or a kid or something of that nature, or treated an elderly person. So there's some situations that are going to really upset you or put you in the mindset of, you know what, this person who did it deserves X, Y, and Z, but that's not part of what we do. We're not part of the punishment. We're part of um, making sure that that person gets to be punished. So we can't put ourselves in a position where we're trying to make sure that the punishment phase is acted out on our watch or we're the one giving the punishment. So we have to be mature about the situation, and we have to just understand that there's going to be some situations that we like and we don't like that's going to disappoint us, and all that we can do is do our best as the law says that we're supposed to.
Agreed. And I don't know what type of resources was in that community, but I know that we had the Juvenile Assessment Center. And when you booked a person, you went and to jail, you would sit with a intake person. And they would ask you, what would you like to see with this case? So that's your case to advocate on that behalf of that family to get that person some counseling, some anger management, maybe some mentorship programs, or athletic programs or something with mentoring in there to give them something to do to try to modify that behavior as opposed to allowing corporal punishment to occur while that person is in your custody. So
I agree. That's all I got.
that's all I have. So we'll leave it right there. Thank you for watching another episode of Car to Car Podcast. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe and give us feedback. And until next time.